Rita Dove's poem "This Life" was published in 1980. It grapples with the problem of fantasy versus reality. The speaker sees that the possibilities in this life may be impossible. This poem may also be portraying the difficulty of being a woman with certain emotional and romantic needs, as symbolized by the image of the moon in a society dominated by men. Let's see the summary of the poem. At first glance, the opening line seems to be a simple declarative sentence, but the image suggests several other possibilities. The green lamp could be a camping lantern, something one takes to illuminate the darkness of the natural world. But this is on the table, so even if it is intended to be used outside, this lamp is inside. The fact that it flares suggests a flare up of anger, or it may foreshadow self enlightenment, or it may suggest something ominous in this scene. In the second line, the speaker introduces a second unidentified person who tells the speaker the same thing as that one asleep upstairs. Here, a third unidentified person is mentioned. The tone is restrained and guarded. This person could be the speaker's father, or it could refer to the cultural concept of a male god who is distant and unaware of her plight. In lines 5 and 6, the speaker already has reached a conclusion based on evidence that is hidden from us. What she sees is that the possibilities in this life are as restricted and impossible as golden dresses in a nutshell. This image also may suggest that what is important has been relegated to a minuscule and inaccessible place and that life is hard. In the next section, the speaker relates a childhood experience of falling in love with a Japanese woodcut of a girl gazing at the woman. This image suggests an ideal of romantic love. The speaker has identified with the imaginary girl and has waited with her for her lover. And in the speaker's memory of the woodcut, he came in white breeches and sandals, an image of pure romantic love, a savior. But in the next two lines, the speaker fuses her childhood fantasy with her present reality. The lover in the woodcut had a goatee. He had your face, though I did not know it. The speaker wants to believe that her present relationship has been fated. The image of the goatee seems to suggest betrayal or something evil. In the final section of the poem, the speaker is again brought back to the reality of her situation. Their lives will be the same. He will continue to be ineffective in protecting her in this life. His lips will be swollen from wishing at danger, and the speaker will remain a stranger in this, nursing the tough skin of figs. So, even though she realizes that nothing will happen to make this life more bearable, she continues to try to nurture the tough skin of this male dominated desert of a life. The moon represents opportunity in this poem, that unknown future which one always assumes will bring better things. To the speaker of this poem, as well as to the girl in the woodcut, this opportunity would be fulfilled by the arrival of a handsome and brave lover. This was the childhood dream of the speaker. But we can see in the first stanza that the faith and enthusiasm core of the dream have diminished to almost nothing. The speaker of the poem realizes that possibilities exist and that they are valuable and beautiful. They are golden dresses. But from the perspective of adulthood, with all of its struggle and responsibility, these possibilities are miniatures small inside of a nutshell. In using the word this, the poem's very title tips the reader off to the speaker's feeling of frustration, making the point that she is bothered about having to live this particular life and not a better one. It could be argued easily that most of the speaker's disappointment is already evident in the very nature of her dream, that she was destined from childhood to have her possibilities limited. Her young self was not even looking for opportunities in her own life, but in the life of the girl in the woodcut. She was not responding to her own environment. so it is natural that her real life would not match her dreams. The similarities that are stated between the real lover and the one that she imagined coming to the Japanese girl with sandals, a beard, and a casual attitude toward danger are not the qualities that ensure a strong adult relationship. As it turned out, the lover that this speaker did pick is not actually the salvation that she had hoped for. To her, he seems like a child talking like that one asleep upstairs. This family has limited the possibilities that the speaker once saw for herself in the way that hard reality will always limit the open possibilities of dreams. The end of this poem gives us an image of the speaker out in the desert, which is known as a place where no other humans are around and the harsh weather is dangerous to human existence. It is a curious way to portray the life of someone who feels herself to be trapped in the middle of her. Would not expect this character to feel alone, especially not to feel such total isolation. In suggesting that this woman's life could be a desert wilderness, the poem appears to be giving a bleak look at human relations, indirectly telling us that humans cannot form but instead are doomed to isolation. But harsh and barren as the desert is, it also has a history of being a proving ground, a place that one emerges from as a better person for having suffered the difficulties of desert life. Among Bible stories, two of the most prominent of Moses leading the Israelites away from slavery and across the desert, and of Jesus spending 40 days alone in the desert, freeing himself from the distractions of the world. This poem does not give us any indication that its speaker tends to someday emerge triumphantly from a metaphorical desert, but it could well be offering us a glimmer of hope for her future, provided that the figs at the end represent the speaker's spouse and child. This would make sense because the fig's tough skin is consistent with the man's swollen lips and casual attitude toward danger, and the child thinks like the man, as mentioned in lines 2 through 5. Under this interpretation, the speaker's act of nursing is an investment, an affirmation that life will not always be a harsh desert for the others, if not for herself. It is a difficult job. The skin is so tough that they will not appreciate her nursing, at least has her more involved with life than she was as a child, sharing at a picture and making up lives. It is interesting to note that the speaker of this poem does not look with disappointment upon a dream that she dreamt for herself, but on a dream that she had for the girl in the Japanese woodcut. As described, the only details that the picture provided her with were the moon and the girl who stared at it. It was the poem speaker who decided that she was waiting for a lover, and then went on to imagine a description for the lover. If a work of art is meant for to identify with, then this woodcut did its job almost too well. The poem speaker fell so in love with the scene that it became a part of her real life. The absent lover that her imagination provided for the girl turned out to match her own eventual lover. For her to meet someone years later who looked one she had once imagined would seem an amazing coincidence, a supernatural premonition, or an indication that this speaker bends her perception of reality in order to match her fantasy. The imagery in this poem indicates a fertile mind, golden dresses in a nutshell, this desert, the tough skin of figs, but this creative mind finds no beauty or happiness when examining her own experiences. It is only when refracting this creativity through the suggestions made by someone else's artistic creation that she shows such inventiveness herself.